we're going to get started. Well, welcome everyone. Thanks so much for joining us today. This is Penn Engineering Online's admissions webinar. My name's Jackie Panto. I am the admissions recruitment manager at Penn Engineering Online, and I work with the rest of the admissions team on helping our applicants learn about our programs, and we help guide them through the application process as well. So we welcome everyone here today. This is actually day 2 of our first webinar series. We're having an entire webinar series this week. Every day this week, we are featuring a group of current students, and they're here on our webinar to talk about their journey on how they got to Penn Engineering Online, what made them choose the program, what it's like to be a student in the program, any challenges they face, what they've done to overcome those challenges. And they're also here to give you advice on how you might be able to handle the application process or some of the challenges you might face, and just give overall insight into our programs and what it's like to be a student. So today are our international students. We have 2 fabulous international students with us today, and they're ready to share their journey with you and talk a little bit about their experiences. Tomorrow, Wednesday, we have our students with families, very busy students with families, and they're going to share their journey with you. On Thursdays, we have our students of color. They'll be with us to talk a little bit about their experiences and what it's like to be a student. And we finish up on Friday with our returning learners. These are students that prior to the Penn Engineering Online program, they hadn't been in a classroom or taken a course in quite some time. So as you can see, we have a packed week of lots of current students with us. So we're glad you're here with us today. Welcome, and maybe we'll see you again later on this week as well at another webinar. In addition, today, we also have a member of our student affairs team with us. We have Tracy Steudel, and she's with us today. She is our student success manager for our MSEDS online program. But Tracy works with students day in and day out. She advises them, she helps them make class selections, she helps them find the resources they need to be successful, and she's here today to talk to you all about that. She'll talk a little bit about the resources as a student, and she'll also talk about how to get involved with the Penn Community and what the Penn Community is all about. So she's got lots of great information too, and then she's going to be speaking with our international students today and fielding, going through those questions with them as well during the Q&A portion of the webinar. So before we actually get started, I just want to go through some housekeeping webinar tips with you. First, the webinar is being recorded, so there's no need to frantically take notes, and there's no need to worry if you've missed something. You can watch the webinar as many times as you want. It will eventually be on our YouTube channel, and it's good to know that all of our webinars, so all of our past webinars and all of our webinars this week will be on our YouTube channel. So if you're unable, if another webinar this week interests you, you can certainly watch it at your leisure once the recording is posted. In addition, I want to let you know what will happen with questions today. You want to make sure if you have a question, you want to use your Q&A function in Zoom. So you're going to type your question out in that Q&A function. And then we have members of our admissions team behind the scenes, and they're going to be typing out answers. They'll be answering questions right away as you feed them into us. And then we're also going to be asking questions at the end live. Our international student panelists will be answering questions live on camera. But regardless, you want to make sure all questions go into that Q&A function. And again, our admissions team will be answering them as they come in. Okay, so we are ready to get started. I first want to talk a little bit about our programs and the 2 programs that we have to offer, our 2 online programs. So our first online program is our Master of Computer and Information Technology, otherwise known as our MCIT online program. And this program started in, our online version of this program started in 2019, and it really is, it's a one-of-a-kind program because we're able to offer a master's degree in computer science, which is tailored to non-computer science majors. So you don't need any computer science background whatsoever to be a part of this program. The the key to success for this program is having a computational, having a quantitative background, or having an ability for that quantitative ability or courses. So that's really the key to the MCIT program. The key ingredient to success is having that quantitative ability and being able to show that on your application. But there's no need to worry if you have no computer science skills. That's going to come with the program. So it really is a very unique and very one-of-a-kind program. Now, the thing to also remember about the MCIT program is we build the strength of our online program from our on-campus program. Even though the online version started in 2019, our MCIT on-campus program has been around for over 21 years. So we've taken that same great program, which is tried and true, and we developed it into an online program. So it's the same world-renowned faculty member that teach on campus, teach online. The same degree is conferred. There's no mention of online on the degree or on the transcript. So you're basically getting the same program. It's the method in which it's delivered that's different. So it's an excellent program. And again, it's really custom designed for non-computer science majors. Our newest program is our Master of Science in Engineering and Data Science program, otherwise known as our MSEDS online program. And this program is designed for those individuals that do have a computer science and highly computational background and are really looking to take a deep dive into data science. So in order to be eligible to apply for this program, you really should look at one of three areas or one of three levels of criteria. One, if you have an undergraduate degree in computer science, then yes, our MSEDS online program could definitely be an excellent program for you. If you have taken, say, a minor in computer science, or you have 4 computer science courses that you've taken, something like programming or discrete math, a data structures course, then yes, this program can definitely be a good fit for you if you want to take that deep dive into data science. The last criteria that could possibly work for you as well is if you had an undergraduate degree in a highly quantitative field, such as mathematics or physics, and you have 2 years of work experience as a software developer, then yes, this might be a great program for you to apply to as well. So it's important that you try to see if you fit into one of those 3 areas before you apply to the program. If you feel maybe you don't quite meet the qualifications, then you might want to start with the MCIT program and then move into the MSEDS online program. So we have that option as well. So 2 great online programs. Just wanted to kind of give you an overview of what they were all about. And I am going to turn it over to Tracy, and she's going to talk to you about some of the great resources that we have. So go ahead, Tracy, it's all yours.
Thanks, Jackie. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all. A pleasure to meet you. Like Jackie said, my name is Tracy Stoidel. I'm a Senior Student Success Advisor for MSEDS Online, and I'm so excited to be here speaking with you both and speaking with our international students that we have on the call. Before we get into that Q&A, I'm going to just talk a little bit more about resources, ways to get involved, and the different student support that we have here at Penn Engineering Online for all of our degrees, MCIT and MSEDS. We have campus cultural centers. Now, these are on-campus centers that have also plenty of offerings virtually for students all over to join for those different community events and meetings and different opportunities that those centers have. Those centers include the LGBT Center, the Women's Center, the Black Cultural Center, the Pan Asian American Community House, the Center for Hispanic Excellence, and that's just me naming a few. There are more. So it's an awesome way to get more involved in the Penn community and the larger community. You also have access to Penn libraries. This is another on-campus, libraries that you might see on campus, but you do have access to libraries virtually and the complete virtual collections of different academic journals. There are hundreds of them. So you do not have to come to campus to access the library. There is access completely virtually, as well as the resources that the libraries provide. Now, Once you complete your program and graduate, which will be super exciting, you do have access to alumni services. You have access to the alumni societies all over the world, different alumni networking events, and you also have access to something called My Penn, which is essentially just like a giant LinkedIn just for Penn alum. And it's a great way to stay connected, and there are thousands of folks on there. You also have career services available to you as a Penn Engineering Online student. We have different career fairs, career spotlights. We have resume workshops, internship and job searching workshops. You have access to a platform called Handshake, which is a platform you can join and employers can join, and it's specifically for employers who are looking to hire Penn students. So it's a really awesome platform to use when job searching. We have one-on-one counseling with the Associate Director of Professional Development and Networking. As you figure out your next career steps, you can work with her. Her name is Emily Perry, and she is super awesome. And she can help you navigate resumes, internship, and job searching, and also how to utilize Handshake. She's great for all of those things. What I really want to get into as well is the robust online community and all of the different ways that you can get involved as an online student. So I'm actually going to talk a little bit more about the online community on this slide here and how to get involved. Because a question we often get is, how do you get connected with other students when you're not physically in the classroom? Even more so in some of your cases, you're not even in the same country. So how do we connect? We have many ways that you can do this, and we want our students to connect with one another, and our students want to connect with one another. So we really do pride ourselves in the community that we've all created together. First, you'll see here we have the MCIT Online Student Association, called MOSA. It hosts different professional and academic opportunities for MCIT students. They host social events, coffee chats, hackathons, and more. If you're an MSEDS student on this call and you're like, well, that sounds super awesome. Well, you and me both. I also think it sounds super awesome. And as that program is growing, since it is a bit newer, we're going to see as it grows and hopefully create our own association soon as well. For all students, we have plenty of different events. We have networking events for new students to get to know one another. I know we've had a few bingo and trivia nights and meeting one another as the spring semester has recently gotten started. And those have been super fun for new students to just meet. We also have commencement in person, which is a really fun event. I love commencement. And also, which coincides with homecoming, is an event that we actually held for the first time this past October called Fall Fest. And it was students, alumni, staff, faculty came from all over, and we all met up in person, and it was so wonderful. We had keynote speakers, we had sessions about career services, different academic sessions hosted by faculty. We had tours of Philly, tours of museums on campus, tours of campus. It was such a fun day. Capped it off with a tailgate and a football game. It was a really fun time, and we're going to be continuing that. It was so great to see everyone meet each other in person. So that will be happening again this October. And we also host virtually regular webinars. These can be career related, policy related, and you'll often find as well, if we're introducing a new course or a new elective in one of our programs, we'll actually have a webinar introducing that new elective, and it'll be hosted by the faculty member or instructor who's going to be teaching that course. So if you see something and you're like, oh, tell me a little bit more about this advanced artificial intelligence class, you can go there and you can learn a little bit more about it. Students can connect in real time over one of our most popular platforms, which is Slack. Not sure if any of y'all have ever heard of that before, but it is awesome. And it's a really great way to talk in real time with your peers. It has been referred to once before as the lifeblood of the program that we have. And I feel like that is true from what I have seen. It really is a great way for students to create different groups and channels on there based on interests, like a channel based on where you are from, and have all of the students who are all from Italy, and you're all going to make a channel, MCIT students or Penn Engineering Online students in Italy, and then you can all chat together. And so it's a really great way to connect. There's also course channels where you can all join when you're in the same classes, so you connect with your peers in your courses. And you'll often find times where students who are maybe in those geographic channels, like, they'll actually meet up in real life and get together. So it is a wonderful way to meet folks, even outside of this virtual network you have. For example, a bunch of students from California a few weeks ago all got together for a picnic just on a whim on a weekend, and it looked super fun. So we encourage that, and we love it, and our students love it. We also have LinkedIn, which you might be familiar with. So each of our programs does have a LinkedIn network and a LinkedIn group that you can join. So that way you can stay connected with your peers forever, and you can always have them in your network. It's also a great place to post job openings for one another. If you wanted to refer another Penn Engineering Online student, if your company is hiring, you can post it on the LinkedIn group. We love when our students want to hire their peers. That's really awesome to see. We also have ed discussion boards, which is a way to talk real time with actually the peers in your class, your classmates, your TAs, and your instructors in your course. If you have any questions about the specific course you're enrolled in, and someone will reply to you within 24 hours to help you work through whatever questions that you have. So I do actually want to get a little bit more into the course experience and how we do support students through our classes on this slide here, because we do have a course delivery team, and it's a big team of folks who help us and you to keep courses running smoothly and ensure that you have all the support that you need when navigating the online course curriculum. They maintain the Canvas platform, they schedule live office hours, they schedule recitations, and they schedule these times to accommodate schedules and all time zones. So you'll find these office hours and recitations offered at all times throughout the day, in our Eastern Standard Time, but you'll be able to see it in your time zone, hopefully at a time that works best for your schedule, so you don't have to meet for office hours at like 3 a.m. what your time is. We are very accommodating of that. They'll also help work with you on any tech issues. If you're having trouble submitting assignment and the due date's tomorrow, don't panic. We have a whole course team that's here to help you troubleshoot. They also work with the student affairs team and folks like myself to let us know if they see any students who might be struggling in any of the courses. That way we can work together as a team, and we can reach out and offer support and resources to any students that might be struggling in the classes. So we love to work together, make sure that our students are feeling very supportive when navigating these academically rigorous courses and the online format as well. If you're hearing all this and thinking, how can I offer support myself? There are still more ways to get involved in this program. We are not done yet. So we have here the different ways that students can get involved with student support, and maybe some of the different student leaders that you might see throughout your time here as a Penn Engineering Online student. We have here the teaching and learning practicum, academic coaches, and teaching assistants. The teaching and learning practicum, which is often referred to as TLP, is for students from all over the world can do this. And it is a not for credit course where you can get involved, get teaching experience, help lead recitations, office hours, all of those things, and really get that teaching experience that you might be looking for to help your peers throughout their courses. You'll attend seminars and webinars of professionals who have experience teaching, and you can do this multiple times with multiple courses throughout your time here. You may also run into an academic coach in your first year as an MCIT student specifically. And an academic coach is somewhere between a mentor and a tutor. So these are current students who are working with MCIT students, and they really help our students in their first year navigate the first semester. They'll hold information sessions to help you navigate just acclimating to online coursework, the rigor of the coursework, or you might be just new to computer science completely, and you're just looking for someone to talk to, or you're working full time and you want to connect with someone else that has also been taking 2 classes or 1 class at a time and balancing having a life, a family, and also working full time. So they're really great. We also have teaching assistants that you might run into in your classes, TAs that you may have seen in your undergraduate or previous graduate coursework. These are also current students who have taken the course, and they host regular office hours and recitations similar to a TLP. And TAs and academic coaches both must be US citizens or permanent residents, or must reside within the United States to be an academic coach or a teaching assistant. But I still want you all to know about them because you might run into them in your time here as a Penn Engineering Online students. TLP though, TLP is for wherever you are located in the world, you can participate in the teaching and learning practicum. With that, I'm going to hand it over to Jackie real fast. So then we'll jump into the Q&A soon.
Great, thanks so much, Tracy. I just want to spend a couple of minutes before questions and answers just to kind of go over the application process and highlight a few things with that. So if you're working on your application or you're going to get ready to start your application, there are several materials that you need to prepare. First is your resume. You will need an updated resume. You'll need a personal statement. With the personal statement, when you go into the application, they'll give you about 6 or 7 points or so that you need to, questions that you need to answer within your personal statement. Just make sure you're answering all of those questions. Be sure to answer all the prompts in the personal statement. You will need to include your college transcripts from every college or university that you attended. So sometimes we have applicants that maybe started out at a community college or transferred a couple of times before they reach the school that they graduated from. Just be sure you include all transcripts for all schools that you attended. They do not need to be official transcripts. Unofficial transcripts are what we're looking for the application process. We only need official transcripts if you're accepted to the program, and we provide instructions once you're accepted to the program on how to submit official documents. We do need letters of recommendation. We're looking for 2 letters of recommendation, but I always urge applicants to seek 3. So it's good to solicit for 3 recommenders. And the reason why is letters of recommendation are the only part of the application which is totally out of your control. You cannot dictate when that recommender is going to send in the letter of recommendation. They all are due by the due date. So whatever the deadline is, those letters of recommendation are due. So if you solicit for 3 and you have somebody that's late, you still have that safety net. Since you're seeking 3 recommendations, if you only get 2, your application will still be read. So we only need to receive 2 to read the application. I strongly urge you to seek 3 though. The GRE is optional. You do not have to submit a GRE score. Sometimes our MCIT students will use the GRE score, submit the GRE score to supplement, to show their quantitative ability. That is an option if you need to supplement and show quantitative ability. The GRE is just one option on how to do that. The TOEFL score is needed. International students, if you're not a US citizen or US permanent resident, you're an international student and your program was not taught in English, you will need to provide a TOEFL score. If you went to a university and it was taught in English, then you could, within the application, you could then apply for a TOEFL waiver right in the application for admission as well. So those are all the elements. And then there is a $90 application fee, which you would need to submit before you actually submit your application. So those are the application elements. They're detailed pretty in depth on our website. We do have a great application checklist. If you go to our admissions page on either one of our programs, you can get to the PDF application checklist, and that goes into detail on the instructions for each one of these elements. We also have a great checklist and a status page within your application portal. So you can always check on the status of your application. If you are, say, submitting a GRE score, if you're wondering if your recommenders submitted the letter, you can go to the status page and it'll all be there for you. And then we identify here on the screen and on our website, you have all the dates and deadlines. Our first deadline is coming up March 1st. That's for our early application cycle. So if you're looking to apply for our early decision, March 1st is the deadline. It seems like it's so far away, but it's going to come upon us quickly. And then all decisions will be returned on April 17th. Our regular decision deadline is May 2nd, with all decisions being returned on June 15th. And again, this is all highlighted on our website as well. So I don't want to take up any more time. I want to turn it back over to Tracy so that we can get to our questions and hear all the fabulous stories that our international students have for us today. So back to you, Tracy.
All right, woohoo, let's get into it. So here we have our two current students that are here with us today. We have Alberto here, and we also have Uba here. And I have questions for both of them so they can introduce themselves to you. But here on this slide, you can see just a little bit more about them and who they are. But let's get into it. What I'll actually have us do is we'll exit out of the presentation here, so that way you can see our faces real big. So the question that I have for you first, and I'm going to direct this first to Alberto, is where are you from? And how does it impact your approach to your academics? So just tell us a little bit more about where you're from and how has that impacted your approach? I'll hand it over to you.
Yeah, thank you. So as you may figure out by my name, I'm Italian, and at the moment I live in France, but I'm originally from Italy. So how this impact my my approach to academics? I discovered pretty quickly that the approach of a US university is different from what I was used to. So in the meaning that there are deliverables every week and assignments. So it requires a steady coursework, a steady engagement on my side, and I think that actually is very good, because in this way I am forced to engage with all the materials and master it before the exams. I often found that by the time of the exam I already digested and understood all the material. So it is very engaging, and I'm really happy about how the academics are carried out at Penn.
Awesome. And then I have a follow-up question for you, which is, what was your undergraduate major and what are you doing right now?
Well, I graduated in humanities, so I have a degree in history, in European modern history, and I also hold a master in corporate communication. So they were both awarded by Italian University at the State University of Milan and the Catholic University of Milan. And at the moment, I work in an e-commerce platform where I work in technical support. So I basically troubleshoot problems and solve bugs.
Awesome. Thank you for your answers there. And now I'm going to direct these same questions over to you, Uba. Where are you from and how has this impacted your approach to your academics so far?
Hey everybody. Nice to be with you guys here today. So yeah, I was born and raised in Nigeria, and then I moved to Budapest, right in the heart of Europe, for my undergraduate studies. Yeah, so in addition, like just following up on what Alberto said, yeah, we have like this weekly assignments and things we have to sort of work on every week. So I feel like that sort of makes you like really stay engaged with the material. And yeah, just like Alberto said, like towards the exams, I feel like yeah, you've done so much work during the semester that the exam sort of it's just sort of putting everything together and tying things up. But I feel like you do most of the work during the week, so that's really nice. You know, sort of staying engaged through the semester. Yeah, being like 5 hours or 6 hours ahead. I feel like most of the classroom activities happen usually after my working hours. So yeah, I'm able to sort of go for live lectures. And usually is like these are also recorded, and I think for most of the classes I've taken, they sort of usually alternate the times. It was like one falls in my afternoon and one falls during the night hours. So, I just keep that in mind. I like to go for these classroom sessions, connect to the professors, classmates, and sort of, take part in the classroom discussions because these are also like very interesting. Yeah, like I said, these are recorded, so you can always go back to watch those. Yeah.
Thank you. That's great. And I'm glad to hear that you still feel like you are able to still connect with instructors and TAs, even while
Yeah.
being hours ahead. That's great. I'm going to direct the same two follow-up questions at you. What was your undergraduate major of study, and what are you doing right now?
So yeah, I studied electrical engineering for my undergraduate studies. Yeah, and after which I got a job to work for a bank. So I currently work in cybersecurity, just helping keep our customers safe.
I know they appreciate that. So that is good work. Thank you for answering.
Thank you.
All
You're
right.
welcome.
And I have another question, and I'm going to have both of you answer, but I'm going to have Alberto go ahead and answer this one first. So the other question that I have is, how do you connect with students in the program, and are you a part of the Penn Engineering Online community in any way, and in what ways, if you are?
Well, that's a very good question. And actually, yes, I'm connected with a lot of other students. A good way that I found to introduce myself and then to make connection and friends was to join the MCIT Online Student Association, the MOSA. So I joined a few months after I started the program. I started first with one committee, and then 1 year ago, for 1 year, I led the association as the co-president. It was actually a very good opportunity because I had really time to meet with students all around the world, and also to collaborate with them. So there are different time zones, different cultures, and I found that very enriching. There was a time where we had a board meeting, and there were people connected from Philadelphia, from France, Switzerland, and also from Pakistan. So we're spanning almost all around the globe from 3 different continents. And I think there was in some sort is really enriching because in this way you really meet people and stories that otherwise you would never come across. So and thanks to the association again, I met several students, and some that now I consider my friends. So I will meet the other former co-president at the commencement in 1 year. So I met acquaintances and also friends.
Oh, that's so awesome to meet in person soon. So as the former co-president of MOSA, you might be able to do a little bit better of a job than I can. What sort of events were y'all putting on? Like, do you have any examples of just like a few of the events that you can remember?
Yeah, absolutely. Probably the most popular is the hackathon that is organized every year. So every year there is one committee that organizes it. It's actually a very good opportunity again to meet and connect with other students, and also most importantly to develop a project and then you can showcase to potential employers. So it helps you to learn how to collaborate, how to deliver and develop a project, to develop and deliver a project. And it's really been appreciated. So sometimes there are prizes offered, sometimes not, but we found that the engagement from the community is pretty high, and there were some really excellent products that were delivered.
How cool. All right, Uba, I'm going to ask you the same question. How do you connect with students in the program, and in what ways, if you are you a part of the Penn Engineering Online community?
Yeah. So I would just want to add to what Alberto said as to one of the initiatives MOSA had that I really benefited for, which is like the MOSA lead code sessions. Yeah, those are really helpful in sort of getting into lead code. And sort of that was like a good supplement to the 594 lecture. But yeah, one way I'm part of the community, I would say, first, I think the Slack was mentioned earlier during the webinar. I think that's such a huge resource that sort of keeps everyone in the program. It's just this workspace where we have, and people just, we have like we have sort of different sort of work rooms. I don't know how it's called in Slack, but different channels. Yeah. So yeah, you can join different channels. You can join channels for people in your city. There's also like there's multiple cities. Yeah, people just having just so I see like a lot of global connections going on Slack. For example, someone travels to a different city, and then they make a post, it's like, does anyone live in this city? And they're usually able to find someone who lives in their city. At least I met someone um from MCIT that way. Yeah, I'm also like a TA, which is like a TLP for me because I'm an international student. So I currently work as a TLP for 591, which is the very first class students who come into the program take. So yeah, it's a nice experience. I have my office hours students come in and I sort of get to help fellow students in the program. So yeah, there's a lot of ways people connect. Yeah, I'm also a member of like the Penn Quant Association, which is like a student-led quant group where folks who are interested in quantitative finance can join. And I think there's like other groups as well, student clubs you can also join. But these are some of the things I am part of.
Yeah, and that's a great point where if there are other student clubs or associations that are available at UPenn and that club is able to allow like virtual meetings or they're open to online students joining, you can join. UBA is proof of that. You can. So if it's available and online students can join, go for it. Reach out. That's awesome. The next question that I have, and I'll turn it back over to Alberto to answer this one, but I'll have you both answer it, is are you or have you been able to connect with other students from where you're located or your home country? And how were you able to do that? And has this made any difference in your own academic experience?
Well, to follow up what Uber said, it's true about the Slack channel. So it is possible that students coming to visit in the area, they then leave a message, for example, in the MCIT Europe, where if there is somebody around. And actually, I met students in this way. And it was nice. We had a good exchange. That time was about cryptocurrency, but we had a we had a good chat around a cup of tea. In general, I'm also lucky because in Paris there are other students based here, so I was able to meet in person several times with other students. And in addition, that was good because I also met one of the peers that I work with in some of the group assignments. So it was quite cool. Sometimes we also coding together. So it was nice to see, hey, let's see this evening and have a drink and then work a little bit on the deliverable that we have to do. So it's a nice experience. And in general, as I was saying about the most, I find really enriching to meet people from different nationalities and different cultures is one of the big plus of the program. It has many, but this is one of them.
I love hearing that both of you have been able to just post in a Slack channel, be like, hey, I'm here. Is anyone else here? And then you're actually able to meet up with one another. I feel like you're proving my point. I'm not making this up, that students do meet up in real life and it will happen over Slack. And it's actually quite common. And so long as you take the initiative and you're like, hey, is anyone around? People will respond. And how even better too is like, I can go meet up with this person and then we're going to meet up later together in our online program and work on this project. So you can make those in-person connections if you really want to. So thanks for sharing both of those experience. I'm going to direct the same question over to you, Uba. Have you been able to connect with any other students? I know you mentioned it briefly, but have you met any other students from like around where you're from? And how did you do that? And how has that made any difference at all to you and your academic experience?
Yeah, yeah. So the student in question who I met, like I think that was last year we met for the first time. He also moved to the city where I currently live in Budapest. So we even met yesterday. We went to like a taco bar and had like good Mexican food. But yeah, so in addition to that, it was like there's also students who I think I'm going to hopefully meet one other student who is new to MCIT. She moved to Austria and we're planning on meeting when she's in the area. But yeah, speaking to the student who's now an MCIT alumni, he used to work for Amazon. So it was nice to sort of, get what his experience is and sort of see how the skills he picked up from MCIT was transferable to his to his job after MCIT. So yeah, that's also nice. Yeah, he's also like an additional resource, someone who I can go to sort of get further explanations, just ask him how he went about balancing the workload from classes, because he was in a similar situation like myself. He was working full time and taking MCIT. So it's nice to sort of have that resource. So that sort of helps. That's one way that sort of impacts my academic work.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that seems like a great way that it's impacted your academic work. Being able to have a network of students where you can reach out to, hey, how'd you get this job at Amazon? I would really like a job at Amazon. And then picking their brain down to, hey, is anyone around to speak with? Because I'm balancing working full time and going back to school. I think I'm going to take 2 classes this semester. One of them is 596. Can we talk a little bit more about it? And people are ready to chat over tacos. I love it.
Mhm.
Awesome. The next question I have, and we'll just keep going back and forth here, I'll direct it to Alberto first, is what advice do you have for international students who might be considering entering Penn Engineering Online that are here in this webinar?
Well, as I said, I take from my personal experience that joining a student association is a very good start. So based on our program, we have the MOSA, but as Uba said, it is also possible to join other clubs. But if you want to connect with your peers, the MCIT, you should consider joining MOSA. I guess that now they have rolling admissions all over the year, so you don't have to wait. But anyways, always possible to meet and give a hand and in this way get involved. Generally, also there are if you progress in the program, there are also opportunities to do group work also in the mandatory courses. So it's also a good way to connect and to learn how to collaborate. And this is very important because in the world of software, you will never work alone. You always work in a group, and learning how to work together with others is really important. So doing that while having a little bit of fun and also talking about the experience and as Uba said, also about how to balance work and study like most part of the students is a good way to make connections. So there are plenty of opportunities. Also the student affairs team organizes chats. There were the coffee sessions last summer, I guess. So there are a lot of opportunities. It's just if you be willing, there will be time and there will be opportunities.
That's great advice. You mentioned a little bit group projects, and I think we've all mentioned group projects a little bit. And I actually do see in the question and answer, someone is wondering a little bit more. Are there group projects in most classes or the classes you've been in so far? What's that experience like working in a group project? I know since you just mentioned it, Alberto, I'll direct that question to you, but Uba, please, if you've been in group projects as well, feel free to chime in.
Okay, so I will give you a brief description. Yes, there is from I guess there also, for example, 593.0 that is about computer system, and 594 that is about the data structures. There are projects that are too big to be delivered alone. So yes, there are several opportunities. For example, is for 594 we had to deliver. Yes, it was an analyzing. It was a tool to analyze data using the proper data structure that we learned. It was a good way. Actually, it was an interesting case because I was working with a student and now graduated, and she was based on the East Coast, so we had a 6-hour difference, and we never had problems for meeting because we found good times. Probably for her was early for morning, and for me it was afternoon, or for me it was late night. But we never had problems. It was always possible. Generally speaking, the MCIT students are in good faith, and they're always willing to collaborate. So they'll generally they'll go the extra mile if you ask them. Or so it's pretty easy. I never had problems, and in future there would be other group projects like to do the distributed system class, and this is basically a giant project.
That's great to hear. Uba, I'll direct both questions to you. If you want to piggyback, if you've had any experience in group projects, if you want to talk about that experience a little bit more. And what advice do you have for international students who might be considering joining Penn Engineering Online?
Yeah, for most of the group projects I've had, usually I just go on the MCIT Europe Slack channel, make a post, and see if any student is taking the class during the semester when I'm taking it. And yeah, so far when I took 591, I worked on 2 group projects. Actually, yeah, the first one was with someone based in Italy. And then I think the second project I worked with someone in the US, and like Alberto said, we were just able to sort of find a time that works for the both of us. You know, someone stays up very late at night, and you know the other person does the opposite the next day. So yeah, students are usually sort of more than willing to sort of see how they can make things work. In 594 as well, I had a project, but I think my teammate was based here in Europe, so it was easy to work together. We were in the same time zone. We just met up usually after my working hours in the evenings, and we just stayed on Zoom and worked together and just, you know, talk and just, you know, it was fun. So yeah, there's definitely the opportunity to work on group projects. Yeah. And yeah, one advice I would give for people is just, you know, sort of I think it's a very good program, but it's kind of also very demanding. So you should be willing to, and that's not to scare anybody. I feel like if you sort of have a good strategy, you know, you need to sort of plan as to how you want to go about your schoolwork. You know, usually we have like the schedule of what we're supposed to do published like in the first week, you know, the times for like office hours, you know, the times for recitations. So you could sort of see how you can fit all of that into your schedule. These sessions are also recorded. And if you need extra support, I think the TA or the TLP office hours, literally for most classes, they run all through the week and they happen in different time zones. So there's the possibility for everyone, regardless of where you are, to get support from the course staff. But yeah, you know, it's a demanding program, it's challenging, but you have like all of the support there for you. So yeah.
That's great advice. That really is. And it's also important to remember, yeah, it is a rigorous, demanding program. Remember the support and community that you have that we've talked about, because we're all here to help support you. You don't have to navigate it all alone. Things like office hours and recitations and watching them back and attending live are all really important to your success. So just remember that those support systems exist. And I actually just have one last question for you all as we're nearing the end of this webinar. I'll direct it first to you, Alberto. What made you choose Penn Engineering Online over programs offered, other programs offered, or even programs offered in your home country?
Well, first I have a background in humanities and I want to transition to computer science, and this program offers is exactly what I was looking for. But in general, this program offers the opportunity to build up the foundations and then to progress to subjects that are really advanced. This is kind of unique. There are not a lot of programs that offer this kind of structure from the basics to really advanced, and this ruled out a lot of programs. And in addition, as probably Uba, I'm a full-time worker, so it's not easy to find a program that's really flexible. So on campus was ruled out immediately. So in addition, the thing is, personally, I'm pretty proud of being a student, a Penn student. So studying in Ivy League University was a factor. I'm really happy and proud of it. So the program was a perfect fit for me. If you're coming from humanities, it's not that easy to find a program that helps you to progress to advanced level.
Awesome. Thank you so much for explaining that more for us. And we are so happy you're here at Penn too. And Uba, I'll direct the same question over to you. What made you choose Penn Engineering Online over programs offered in your home country?
Yeah, so I would say like aside of the reputation Penn has, so MCIT really stood out because of its tailored approach, and it was basically designed for folks without a CS background. So it was just nice, knowing there's a program out there that sort of can enable, that can allow me, learn the foundations of CS and build it up to, even being able to take very advanced classes. I did a lot of research. I reached out to students in the program. I looked at other programs as well, and I think um, during my research, it was clear that MCIT provided a lot of support, which I was hoping to have, and just like also just knowing that just I mean, because it's an online program, and I think one thing I felt kind of anxious. I felt like I was going to be alone through the program, and I would just not have classmates and know anybody. But during my research, I found like students were able to collaborate, and I also learned about all of the options, so that I enable students connect like the Slack channel. So, just putting everything together, MCIT seemed like the best fit for me, who sort of had a job and sort of also wanted to sort of further my education and learn about computer science. So, yeah, it was like I did research, heard from students, heard from experiences of other people, and especially people who also came from sort of like an electrical engineering background like myself. So yeah, it was just like, yeah, I think MCIT was like the best program out there for me, in my opinion, and that's why I applied.
We're so happy you're here too. And thank you for sharing your experience with all the students in this webinar too. So now they have advice from you to make the best decision if this is a good fit. You did a great job. Alberto, Uba, you both are fabulous. Thank you so much. I know you're so busy, so thank you for taking the time out of school and work to meet with us. And Jackie, I'll hand it back over to you and we'll close out this webinar.
Yeah, excellent. I actually have one quick follow-up question for Alberto, if he doesn't mind. So, because he's mentioned about he's coming from a humanities background. So I'm just wondering, there's probably folks out there that are thinking, okay, what did you do to show your quantitative ability? Because I'm thinking that maybe you didn't have a whole lot of math courses or quant courses in your undergrad, and if that's so,
I did
what
not.
did you? Yeah.
Right.
So tell us, what did you do to beef up your quant on your application? Because I bet you there's people out there that are wondering that.
Well, that's a very good question. I worked really hard on the application. So I work on several pillars. So on one side, I did some online courses about computer science. There are some very good from Penn. And these also gave to the university at least a proof that they can work online on quantitative subjects and to learn computer science. I did the GRE. That was very important actually on the website for students coming from humanities background. It was really suggested. So a good way to showcase that you're good in quantitative is to score well in the GRE. So is a very good point. Aside for that, I always been personally interested in math. So when I had to showcase that on my profile on the CV that I submitted to Penn, I found that I've been following online courses about maths and computer science for like 5-7 years. So it was not difficult, but I brought a lot of evidence. And the thing that I asked also my referees, the people that submitted the presentation letter for me, was to indicate that I was also up to for this kind of studies, because with my work experience, I worked with engineers, and they will appreciate the structured approach they had. And I asked these people, my referees, to indicate that to the university. I'm sure they had. So you have to work in order to make a very consistent application. Penn is open to students that they have a humanities background, but you have to showcase in every part of your application that you can sustain a rigorous degree in a scientific subject. That is where math is a part, and certainly you have to be really, really structured on that.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing, because I knew that was in the back of a lot of people's mind watching, hearing that and thinking, oh my goodness, how did he showcase his quantitative ability? So I appreciate you explaining that to all of us. Thanks so much. right, so we're going to wrap it up now because we are running out of some time, but great questions, great answers. This is wonderful. So what I just wanted to go over with you is after you leave us today and you still have questions or you develop more questions weeks down the line, what should you do? Well, the first thing is we do have an excellent FAQ database. So you can go to our website and basically use the toolbar function, the search bar function, and type in any question. We have so many questions and answers in that FAQ database. So definitely use that first to see if you can find your answers there. If not, please email us. There's our email address. We really do our best to answer emails in 24 hours. So please feel free to email us with any questions that you have. We also have private office appointments. We have office hours every single day of the week now. And as we approach deadline, we even have Saturday hours. So if you go to our website, look at the top tab for events, look for office hours in those events, and then you can register for whatever day and time works for you. While you're in that events section, you can take a look at all of the events that we have coming up for the month of February and beyond. Like I mentioned, we do have 3 more webinars this week in our webinar series, and we also have lots of coffee chats in the month of February. So please feel free, if the timing works for you, definitely, I urge you to sign up for one of those. Coffee chats is also a great way to hear what other applicants are asking. Sometimes you don't know all the questions to ask, and you hear another applicant ask a question and you think, wow, that's a great question. So coffee chats are also something good to attend. And if not, lastly, I guess I should say, is our mailing list. I know you've obviously registered for today's event, but if you actually formally didn't request information and you haven't started an application, sign up by requesting information, because this puts you into another list, and it will help us to keep you informed about what's going on during the application process and any new events that come up. And we just want to keep you as informed as possible through this whole process. So lots of ways to reach us. We greatly appreciate you taking the time today to join our webinar. It was wonderful. Thank you so much. We wish you lots of luck. So have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye. Thank you so much.